All the companies, all the organizations, so far they were evaluated based on their financial strength, on their reputation, on their image and their market value and all these things. But hereafter, they will be also gauged on their resilience factor, because resilience is something which will help them to move forward. Sustainability is a word which is used generally in terms of environment, to ensure that we utilize the minimum resources, natural resources in this planet, so that it sustains for a long time and it remains for a long time for the future generation. That is what is sustainability. Sustainability also can be used in terms of corporate sustainability, individual sustainability, because anything which survives, which stays for long, is sustainable. And nothing can be sustainable which is not resilient by itself in nature. The facility management service provider needs to be highly adaptable, to be changing and to learn new skills and to be able to provide new services to the client as per his requirements, which are changing, which are dynamically changing on a regular basis. A partnership is never meant to benefit only one party ever. Partnerships are always, you have to be mutually beneficial. Then only it is a good partnership. Ideally, a partnership is one in which the profit and losses are also shared. So I have heard many clients who say, that we treat our service providers like our partners. That's a good statement for a meeting room over a cup of coffee. But then how many of them are willing to share their profits or to share your losses if you incur losses in business? No, not many people. So that is not a real partnership. When the service provider is assured of a business at a long term, then why he will not quote something lesser prices? Normally service providers quote high because there is a mobilization and demobilization cost. There is an uncertainty element. So they have to recover their cost. Service providers are not doing charity in this field. But the fact is on the ground is that the service providers are so bogged down in their day-to-day work, in the follow-up, in the complaints and in the incomplete works and all the customers' complaints and all that, that they don't have really time to think about innovative and sustainable initiatives. So there would be some gray areas. For example, something which is out of scope of service provider, like structural defects. For example, structural defects, normally service provider may not be responsible for them because he is there for a short period compared to the life of the building. But the owner, the asset owner, the client is going to be there for full time. So whose job it is then? So such kind of gray areas and issues need to be properly thought out, well documented, well understood by both the parties. So likewise, proactive approach is, have always sense a problem, whether it is a machine problem or a human problem or an environment problem, sense it and attack it before it comes to you. Develop your capability to such an extent that you are able to be proactive, to find out, anticipate the things and take action on that. You may succeed, you may not succeed. You are not Superman, but at least you have acted on that, and that will give you some initial points at least for that. Nobody will say that you have hidden this problem or you have ignored the problem, you do not know this problem. Some people might say, what you are doing then otherwise? You cannot employ a person who is weak to provide you a superior service. It helps you to make him stronger, right? Because ultimately either the client and service provider both succeed or they both fail. It doesn't happen that one succeeds and one fails. Unfortunately, there is a perception in the market, some companies. Some people say, that I don't care, let him fail, I don't mind. But that's not correct, that's not healthy. Like, there are some clients who always want to find fault with the service provider. Whenever they come for a meeting, they say that, you have done this mistake, you have done that mistake, you have failed here, you have not honored your this commitment. Every time, it's only like this, then what is the point? Right? At some point, the client will be responsible for this. It is not that, if the service provider fails, it is not service provider's failure, it is also the client's failure. Maybe 20% of the blame comes for the client, that he has not taken enough efforts to provide a feedback to the service provider where he is wrong, or to have an action plan where he can improve, or what efforts the client has taken to improve the service provider. If he has done that, then service provider will improve. And client cannot say that it's not my job to improve him. No, it is his job. It is client's job to ensure that the service provider improves. That's what the client's representatives are paid for. So the lesson here for all of us as a corporate, as an industry, as a business, as a job, and as an individual is that whenever you have any small moments of success, celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate it, because that moment is special. And that moment could be in our day-to-day jobs, it could be an appreciation from a client, appreciation from a customer, or you have achieved your target. Like in the cycle, either you keep pedaling or you fall down. You cannot stand still in the cycle without pedaling. So likewise, every facility management service provider, every client also, they need to innovate continuously. The world is innovating, the competitors are innovating. So if you do not innovate at this stage, then you will be left behind and you will have no option, you will perish. 1 plus 1 need not be always 2. By a very healthy partnership between the client and the service provider, then definitely they can make 1 plus 1 as 11.